Hello, students. Welcome to class. I'm Mr. Chori, the CEO of Chori Educational Consult and Chori Academy. All right. Now I teach online, and I have a lot of students in the UK, so I decided to make a comprehensive video for them so that they can actually access my material. And again, if you need me to teach you online, you can contact me, you can message me, and I'm going to teach you online. So actually, this is a foundation question, foundation tier question for non-calculator. It's a past question actually for Thursday, May 16, 2024. Right? So let's start with the solutions now. Write the number 18475 correct to the nearest thousand. Now listen, this is 18475. I want to believe you are conversant with your place value. Now 5 stands for unit, then 7 stands for tens, then 4 stands for hundred, and 8 stands for thousand. Now since you know where your thousand is, then you can do this. You come here, the thousand is 8, so you draw your line. Okay, then you check the number after the line is actually 4, which cannot be rounded up, so we round it down. And once you round it down, that is 0. So 0 plus 8 is still 8, and this is 1. And any other number after that turns to 0 or is being replaced by 0. So at the end of the day, your answer is 18,000. So that is the answer to the nearest thousand. So let's go to the second question. The second question says, write 0.3 as a percentage. Now, whenever you are to convert anything, whether decimal or fraction to percentage, all you need to do is to multiply by 100%. Okay, and if you do that, you're going to have your 30%. So your answer is 30%. Now these are very simple questions that you can do in less than 3 seconds, right? So you take note of that. Now write down the mathematical name for the type of the angle marked Y. Now, by careful observation, you'll find out that this angle that is here is actually an acute angle. Okay, an acute angle is actually less than 90 degrees. So it therefore means that Y must be greater than 180. If this is less than 90, common sense. So therefore, this should be a reflex, okay, angle. Okay, so that is the answer. We have a reflex angle. Now, you need to know the definition of a reflex angle, an acute angle, and an obtuse angle. It's going to help you when you see questions like this, all right? Okay, good. So let's move to the next question. Write these numbers in order of size. Start with the smallest number. Now, listen, if you check this, all are actually decimal numbers, right? Now, the place value importance is that the first number after the decimal point will dictate whether the number is bigger or smaller. Very important. Then when you move from the first number, you check the second number, right? Now, we are asked to start from the smallest. Okay, now if you check in all these numbers, this is 0.0. So the next number after the decimal point, because all of them have the same thing before the decimal point. So the next number after the decimal point is 0. So therefore, the smallest is 0.03. Now, the next is actually 0.1. Why? Because it has 1. This has 1 too, but it has another number, which is 6. So this is actually smaller compared to 0.16. So we are going to have 0.1, then followed by 0.16, then followed by 0.2, then we have 0.21. So this is the arrangement. Quickly, that is nice. Find the square root of 64. Just, what times what gives you 64? A number that multiplies itself to give you 64. So we don't have to waste our time here. We know that the answer is 8, right? Because 8 times 8 is 64. So let's move quickly to the next question. Question 6. So in this question, we're told that Ryan buys 4 cakes at 1.3 each, right? And 2 identical tins of soup. Now he pays with a 10, and he gets a change of 1.8. Now this is it. So if you want to work this question, because we are asked how much does he pay for each tin of soup. Now remember, he bought two of those. Now what you're going to do in this case is to say how much did he spend, money spent. So the money spent. Now you don't have to write this when you're writing your exams, okay? What is just for teaching sake, right? It's going to be 10, then you subtract the 1.8, and you find out that he spent 8.2. Okay, then money spent on cakes. You are going to have 4 multiplied by 1.3, which is going to be 5.2. Okay, good. So money spent on soup, tins of soup, will now be 8.2 minus 5.2. And which the answer is 3.0, right? So it therefore means that two tins actually cost 3.0. So one tin will now be 1.0 divided by 2, and you're going to have 1.5. So the answer is actually 1.5. Now, this is a very good explanation. I want to believe you understood everything, right? So let's move to the next question, which is question 7 now. Okay, number 7. The table shows the numbers of hours that Lina and Pavel worked on each of 4 days last week. Now, listen, you have your table, you have your information. Now, you are expected to draw a suitable diagram or a chart. So, I'm going to draw a bar chart, right? Because it's one of the easiest, to do this. Now, I'm going to do it horizontally, so you can actually do it vertically. So, I want you to pay attention to that. Now, listen, I'll check my numbers. I think the highest is 9. So, I will come here. Then I'm going to start. My horizontal axis will be for the hours, number of hours. So I have this. And my vertical axis will be for the days. Okay, very important. So I'm drawing it now for the days. So I have it this way. Then don't forget the highest of the hours is 9. So I can start. This is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 11. Let me leave it here. Okay, now let me go. Now this is my y-axis, don't forget, and this is my x-axis, right? Now okay, the first thing is that Lina on Wednesday, now that's the first day I'm going to pick. Lina has 7 and Pavel, sorry, Lina is 6 and Pavel is 7. So I have 6 and 7. So this is what I'm going to do. So I'm going to draw. Okay, this is my line for 6. Now I'm going to use color to differentiate it. Okay, then Pavel is 7. So I'm going to have Pavel, which is 7. And this is what I'm going to have. Okay, good. Then for the next day, it is Lina 9 and Pavel 6. So I can come here, Lina 9. Okay, so I can give a space. I can have Lina 9. Okay, I'm a little bit more than 9. Lina 9. All right. Then I'm going to have Pavel to be 6. Now 6 is somewhere here. I have it this way. Now, since you know what I've done for the first 2 days, I'm just going to move on to the next 2 days, okay? So I've completed the bars, so let me check. The first day is Wednesday, so here is going to be my Wednesday, right? Then the second day is Thursday, and the third is Friday, Then, of course, we have Saturday, right? You can have your key if you wish. You can say that Lina is red and Pavel is blue. Okay, then you can actually have it. Lina, of course, we have the red, then Pavel is blue, so you have it this way, right? Now, from the key, everybody knows what you have done, which is very important, right? Good. So that is a way of actually presenting this information. So this is a very good graph. Then don't forget this is going to be hours. Okay. Then this will be days. You need to fill in everything that you need to fill in this work. Okay. So good. How many marks? 4 marks. So it's a very good thing and it's a very simple question. So let's move now to the next question. Question 8. Now, this is a very sweet, very good question actually to work. So, work out the size of the angle marked X. Now, if you check, this arrangement has to do with angles around a point, right? So therefore, I know that once I have my 220, then plus 90, and plus X, I must have 360. All right. So therefore, it means that I have 310 plus x will give me 360. So my x is going to be 360 minus 210, minus 310, sorry. And that should be 50, right? So my answer is 50 degrees. Now you are asked to give reason for your answer, right? So you can say sum of angles around a point is 360 degrees. Hence, this conclusion here, right? So it's very important. So you have 3 marks, and it's a very simple question to work out, right? So let's move to the next question, which is question 9. So this is equally a very simple question. We have an arrangement and we're asked to work out the output when the input is 13. So meaning you have 13 here, 13 is being imputed, so it's going to be 13 multiplied by 2, and then whatever you get, you subtract 10 from it, right? So this is going to be 26, then minus 10, and the answer is 16. So it has to do with order of operation actually. Then the next question says, work out the input when the output is 28. Now, you see, what you're going to do here is actually to reverse the process, right? To reverse the process. So in this case, we are told that the output is 28. So we're going to move to get the input, right? So this is what you're going to do. Just like I say, you reverse the process. You have 28. Now, instead of subtracting 10, you're going to add 10. Okay? Then whatever you get, instead of multiplying by 2, you are going to divide by 2. And so this is going to be 38 divided by 2, and which is going to be 19. So you have your 19. Now, for those of you that love forming equations, to work out questions like this, let me show you. You can actually form an equation. Let me do it here. Now, say this is x, you don't know. So it's going to be x times 2, which is going to be 2x, then minus 10, then the answer must be 28. Now, coming to this place, we are going to have 2x is equals to 38. So x is going to be 38 divided by 2. So x is still going to be 19. So that is another way of doing it, It's very good that you have options, you have alternatives, right? Now, show that there is a number for which the output is the same as the input. Now, from my alternative method up here, okay, you can say this. You can say now the input is x, okay, because in the question it says we should show that there is a number which the output is the same as the input. So both the output and input are the same, and the output is x. Okay, now this is what you're going to have. You are going to have that 2 times x minus 10 should be equals to x. All right, so we are going to have 2x minus 10 is equals to x. So this is x is equals to 10. Now the number is 10. So you can actually show it if you wish that when you put 10, when you have 10, that is the input is 10, times 2, then minus 10, your answer at the end of the day is going to be 20 minus 10, which is equals to 10. So if you check in this case, the input is 10 and the output is equals to 10. It's actually very easy too, right? Good. So let's move to the next question. Now, this is a very simple question, like very straightforward. There are 24 cows and 36 sheep on a farm. So we should write the ratio of number of cows to the number of sheep. Now you have to be very careful, okay, so that you will mix this up. So cows ratio sheep. And we know cows 24, then sheep is 36. All right, so it's going to be like 24 by 36, and you can use 12 here is 2 and 12 here is 3. So it boils down to be 2 and ratio 3. In the simplest form, that is what we should do, and that is what we have. So it's going to be 2 ratio 3. It's as simple as this. Okay, yeah, so we're going to move to the next set of questions. For this video, we have 10 questions that we've solved, so stay tuned. I'm going to continue with question 11 down to the next 10 questions. Hope you enjoyed the video, so keep watching my videos. And like I said, you can contact me for an online intensive revision or classes, whatever it is that you may call it, okay? So thank you so much. I'm Mr. Chori of Chori Educational Consults of Chori Academy. Thank you.